sexual positions. And I actually have a video on sexual positions right here.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are based on you being big and towering over her. So
Maybe some
food,
toes.
You scoop her up and you pull her legs under her chest, and you have your arms around her like this, and you're lightly choking her, and you're looking at her with a very aggressive look. Of course, it's a safe, consensual space, but you're being very intense with sex, and then you're just fucking pile driving into her, right? So your dick may only be, what's the average? I think 5.5 inches. So let's say you even have a smaller dick than that. Let's say you have a 3-inch dick or a 4-inch dick, but it's hard, right? And you're just fucking slamming into her, and you have this big fucking body, right? Have you ever seen videos where these animals charging towards humans, and they go, raw, and they make themselves big, and then the animal goes, rah? So even though that animal was 5 times the weight of the human, it gives the perception that one is bigger than he is. And so you're gonna fuck her here by making her feel small through the sexual positions. And also, dominance is not necessarily based on size. So if she's very submissive around you because you have cool collective body language and you're not chasing her, right? You can be passionate and romantic, but you don't need her. You're very desiring of her, but you don't need her. Or maybe you're one of those cool, calm guys, and she's like, hi, you know? She's your girlfriend, and you're just on the couch like this, and she's like, hey, honey, how are you? And starts kissing you, and you're like, yeah, whatever. You start kissing her back, you start, grabbing her ass, spanking her ass. You have this very detached, masterful energy about you. And she feels like this teenage girl who's just like, oh my god, my man, and that's going to get her in the submissive feminine energy and the submissive feminine mood, and she's going to be really wet for you. And so by the time you go to bed, she's already going to be just dripping wet, and she's going to be ready for your dick. And even though you don't have this big honking dick that can spread her apart, you can still give her the experience of you ripping her apart because you have such a dominant aura about you. You're a guy who's successful in his life socially, financially, professionally, sexually, personality-wise, when it comes to your wisdom about the world. There's so many different ways that you can dominate women, and not just physically. But because we live in a world where men are intimidated by other men who have superior physical attributes, 2 things happen. One, there's a feedback loop where these men think that they're not good enough. So they just continue to be more submissive and more submissive and more submissive. And this creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where you don't get success with women. So you attribute it to the fact that you're small, or you have a small dick, or you're not good looking. But all of these things can be overcome. And so you just sink lower and lower on the social totem pole. And then you backwards rationalize it and say it's because I'm small. But all that smallness did was give you the lack of confidence. But if you would just push beyond that and gain some confidence in some other area and compensated for it, then you would have success and not attribute it to the fact that you're born with a small dick. Secondly, what happens is, yes, there is a natural attraction that happens if you're taller or a big dick or better looking or whatever. And then that guy gets a positive feedback loop where he's getting a little bit more success because maybe he went through puberty earlier than the other guys, and he's walking around with his fucking anaconda, and some girls see it in his pants, and they're like, oh, okay, and then one girl fucks him, and then the other girls hear about it, and he has a bunch of success in high school and in college, and so he's going through life with this positive self-esteem because of his history. Whereas the other guy who is short and seeing all the girls, or shorter, has a small dick, seeing all these girls like him, they get the reciprocal of that, or the converse of that, and they have a negative feedback loop. And so 2 different guys are going in completely different directions. But if this guy had simply just understood, like, okay, if he had watched this video and he's like, okay, maybe it's not the best thing that I have a small dick, but I can compensate for it. And I can make myself attractive in other ways. I can learn how to fuck a girl right, even if I have a small dick, because I don't know the exact physicality of it, but I'm pretty sure that, if you can get at least just a few inches into a woman, you can pleasure her physically like any other man can. But what's the difference between a guy with a big dick is he has easy access to fucking her mentally, because she can feel like she's getting dominated. She can feel every inch spreading her apart. And it creates this submissive mood. Whereas a guy who's smaller, maybe he needs to do other things to make her feel submissive. But there's BDSM. There's just good game, right? You spend the night seducing her like fucking magic. She's just loving your conversation. She's loving how carefree you are, how fun you are, how positive you are, and there's this intense foreplay going on. And then once you get back to her place or your place, she's just wet and ready to take it. And so she takes down your pants. She's like, I don't care. Like, I'm fucking into you, and just takes that fucking dick. Whereas another guy, maybe he doesn't have a great seduction, and then she takes him home and he's got a big dick. She's like, hey, he's got a big dick, cool. So she gets points for that, but you know, he fucks her, and then it's just kind of like, yeah, that was good. You had a big dick, hot, you know. But then the other guy's just like, I don't know. There's something about him. The way that he seduced me, the way that he makes me feel, the way he touches me, just that is really going to drive her crazy. And so she's going to text you back rather than the guy with the big dick. So if you have a small dick, what are you going to do about it? Okay. If you're fat, you can do something about it. Okay. If you have shitty fashion, there's something you can do about it. But big dick and your stature, that's just what you have to deal with. You know, I'm a short guy, okay? And so I had to compete with guys who are bigger than me, but eventually it didn't become that big of a deal. Some of the guys who I know who are the absolute best with women are my size. And I think that's because they were born with that adversity and then they overcame it. You know, you have some advantage. There is some sort of advantage that you have. It could be your intelligence. It could be you're short and you're good looking though, right? Maybe some guy's tall, but he's not good looking. Are there some guys who have it all? Yep, that's just the way it is, okay? Accept your fate. So, admit your weaknesses. You can even make fun of it with girls, right? Just be like, yeah, I got a small dick. She's like, whatever. Well, if you just own it, it can work. If you got a big dick, be proud of it, you know? Like, yeah, I got a big dick. Take your natural genetic advantage, right? Don't be ashamed of it either. So, admit your weaknesses, find your strengths, focus on your strengths, and then build more strengths. Because there's some weaknesses that you just can't change because technology hasn't gotten to the point where, you know, we can just all of a sudden have a super big dick. But that would be great, I guess. But, yeah, you just need to admit what you have not going so well, focus on what is going so well, and then focus on that 100 times, and just pound your fucking advantages into the ground and just go and go and go and go and get more advantages and get rich and get stylish and get intelligent and get creative and get well read and get curious about women, get good with women, learn game, learn how to speak sexy, learn how to walk with fucking